Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of Sports and Songs podcast. My name is Dan. Today's topic is the new Prague Varsity boys hockey program and the subsequent questions. I've got it titled here, Questions Remain. We did a show on February 12th about the strange story in New Prague about the boys hockey assistant coach that resigned near the end of the season. That assistant coach, last name is Applin. This person also happens to be the police chief in New Prague. So, strange things going on. We're not going to focus on what the accusations or the investigation, but there's a new article that came out in the New Prague Times. And so we'll go through this here piece at a time just to have it all make sense. It's a very strange case, mainly from the social media aspect, social media. So what we have here is a follow-up article in the New Prague Times where they're asking Scott County attorney to step in about the complaint against the police chief. What to do? Should they handle it? Are they going to pursue it? Are they going to drop the charges? What's going to happen? That's all fine and good. Like I said, I don't want to get into the specifics on what the allegations are about this assistant boys hockey coach that abruptly resigned. But my focus is the aftermath and how this is being shared and consumed in the media. And so that's really the concern here. When this whole thing started out, now keep in mind, this is New Prague Times print copy from John Mueller, wrote the article. John Mueller authored the article and talks about the case. So it's public, it's published. This is in the New Prague Times. Now let's go back 2 months ago. This is front page, New Prague Times, front page. The only newspaper in New Prague is the New Prague Times. Applin is named in the complaint. Author here, once again, is John Mueller. Talks about the BCA involved and how they're handling this investigation. No one knows what the investigation is about yet, and they're keeping it very quiet. Now, like I said, that's fine. That there's something going on there. We don't know what it is. But our first episode we did here 2 months ago talks about the update that came out to the boys hockey parents for the boys players, boys hockey program, parents and families. And so Tim Applin, the assistant coach, submitted his resignation. So something happened. He stepped down. Okay, fair enough. Social media, under the Facebook group called New Prague Happenings, a user by the name of Jeff Nelson says that this was sent out to high school parents. I wonder why this wasn't sent out to the whole association. Also, if it had something to do with the investigation going on. And so this was posted on a Facebook group called New Prague Happenings. Now, when I was covering this case back 2 months ago, this post had garnered quite a bit of attention and had accumulated a bunch of comments and responses, and it was quickly taken down. This post was taken down. Other posts new posts were created to talk about this story. All of those subsequent posts were taken down. So why would someone moderating a page called New Prague Happenings pull these posts down? What kind of censoring was going on here? That was really the topic of our first show, talked about that. And here we see Police Department Tim Applin. He is certainly the chief of police there in New Prague. So we've got an interesting scenario here. The top dog in New Prague Police Department is still on the force, still doing his job, abruptly resigned, leading to an announcement. And it was quickly then covered up on social media. So that was our post back 2 months ago. Here's that page, New Prague Happenings. Very common page there, a popular group. It's a private group, 17.3 thousand members. Very interesting how that was shut down. Now we get 2 months later, another article from the New Prague Times, also John Mueller. Okay, fair enough. Now, my question to John Mueller was, when was this story going to be uploaded onto the New York Times digital copy, onto the online version? Very easy. It's very easy to share articles if it's online. It's very easy to share, people can comment, share it on social media. That wasn't done with this article. It also wasn't done with this article. But a handful of other posts that made the New York Times print edition all had no problem getting onto the social media digital side of the New Prague Times. Now, the question that I have is I haven't heard from John Mueller, by the way, as far as why that wasn't there. Now, this seems like a pretty big story to me. This sounds like something that typically in a small community would be hungry for this kind of consumption for an article on social media to read, to share, to people can give their thoughts, they can make comments on it. I'm not here to point fingers as far as anything, but my question is, it was in the print. It never made the digital. It never made the digital copy. Now it's very hard to share a hard copy print, meaning it doesn't get that much visibility unless it's physically in your hands. If you live in New Prague, you're going to get this copy. You might see it. People outside of New Prague aren't going to see the New Prague Times hard copy. They're not going to get copies of this, and they're certainly not going to see the digital because the digital was suppressed. Those articles were suppressed, and I'm going to call it that because I think that was what is going on here. That article is being suppressed. So the question is, why is this article being suppressed? Very good story. Very important story, but it's being suppressed. Now the question is who is suppressing it and why, or who is in a position of authority to suppress it in the first place. Now it's very interesting that that is not coming out. This is a big, once again, big story. They are publishing it, but they're not doing social media. An article like this could really run wild on social media. And that's maybe what they're trying to prevent. So let's say they're trying to prevent a story from running wild. Well, this certainly could be a firestorm of people following this story when you have a police chief now under investigation for some incident that took place against a student, a hockey player, a boys hockey player on the boys varsity hockey team. And now it's being suppressed. So once again, I'm not focusing here on what happened or what allegedly happened or what allegedly did not happen, but there is an active art here. There's an active art of suppressing this story. No one is pushing this through on the New York Times digital page. And so folks like myself, we run really a lot of, we cover sports and songs from Carver County. We cover some wrestling there and baseball and football in New Prague, not boys hockey, but I thought this was relevant enough to do a bonus episode on why this is being scrubbed or not scrubbed because it wasn't there, but it's being suppressed. Very interesting story. So anyway, I think it's a top story. It's a leading story. I think it would have some momentum if it got into to allow people to talk about it or whatever. But I think it's just a strange situation that we have here with why this is being shut down, why it's being shut down in the social media and not being allowed. Any thoughts, questions or comments, please leave your comments down below. This is the second one we've done. I'll leave a link to the first show we did on this very same topic back in February. And once again, that was 2 months ago. So things are happening, things are moving along here, but we'll keep it monitored as far as the social media. Who is being ordered or told what to do, what to post, what not to post. And on the other hand, the moderators for the page New Prague Happenings, if someone was ordered to pull those posts down in those comments down, why, who, and for what reason? That is more the concept here. Please leave your comments there below, and hopefully get an answer for next month when we do a follow-up on this in May. Thanks for watching.